So today we're going to do a refutation of the Gerson treatment. If it's so good, why haven't I heard about it? Now, this literally is a wall of text, and I'll leave a link down below so you can read it yourself. But literally, it is the biggest piece of hogwash I've ever done. I've tried to now do about 2 or 3 videos where I sort of try and read through it, but the videos are coming out at like an hour because there is just so much. You cannot I cannot literally read a single sentence without having to like comment on what this guy's put. So what we're going to do now is, I've read through it a couple of times, so I'm going to basically pick out the main parts. And the first part is literally, he bangs on basically how evil the pharmaceutical industries are, how big they are. Oh, woe is me, we're a tiny small company, woe is us, we're being repressed. And yet he can't prove a single point of any of these connections. He claims that, you know, where is it? Yeah, he claims that the pharmaceutical company are selectively paying off institutions and organisations, and yet in this entire thing doesn't provide a single piece of evidence to prove any of that. He bangs on about how, oh, they make so much money and, you know, and do a lot of research with that money. Again, if you look into, again, the amount of money and stuff they put into research for new drugs and new treatments, a lot of that money is very well spent. Again, a lot of the drugs and treatments we have nowadays would not exist without pharmaceutical companies doing the research into these things. And of course he goes on to bang on about the mainstream media. Oh woe is me, we've tried to get into mainstream media but they won't let us. We've gone to them and they won't let us in. Boo-hoo. And yet again, he doesn't provide any proof of the times that they've gone forward and tried to put stuff in. Again, if you've ever worked in the media, you know that you have to, again, provide a burden of proof. If you put something in the newspaper which is false, even medical information like this, then you will receive a massive shitstorm, literally, purely for the fact that you've printed something unequivocally false. You'll become a laughingstock. The editor will probably lose his job for allowing it in the first place, and the journalist will probably lose his position as well for even writing the article. It's not that hard. You are essentially writing a story about something which doesn't work. And again, in the videos where I'd done like an hour, I watched it back and I really realised how many times I literally said it doesn't work so many times. This guy bangs on about later on, oh, the pharmaceutical companies are keeping us in, they're not, you know, doing research into Gerson therapy, again, because there is no evidence to suggest the Gerson therapy works in the first place. Any research into the Gerson therapy would be a colossal waste of time. It would be a massive waste of money, and all it would do is prove what we already know. The Gerson treatment or therapy does not work. Again, it's not hard to understand. And to write the really icing on the cake, he has 2 quotes. The first one is his proof that the press isn't free. And again, go and look up this quote, and there's, I think it must be the 2nd or 3rd link, I think, I can't remember. And there's a really good response written by a journalist about why this quote is misattributed and whatnot. It's quite good. The quote itself is by John Swinton, former chief staff and editor of the New York Times, at his retirement dinner before the Manhattan Press Club. He's asked to stand up and give a toast of free press. He was none of those things at the time. And again, I'd highly recommend you look up the article in question, because it's actually quite a good read. And this isn't the first time I've seen this quote banded around. The second one comes from a guy called Dr. Benjamin Rush, who's one of the signatories of the Declaration of Independence. Now, the quote is, "Unless we put medical freedom into the Constitution, the time will come where medicine will organise into an undercover dictatorship to restrict the art of healing to one class of men and deny equal privilege to others. Albeit they constitute the Bastille of medical science. All such laws are un-American and despotic and have no place in a republic. The Constitution of the Republic should make special privileges for medical freedom as well as religious freedom." This quote is entirely made up. If you look at WikiQuote, it literally says this, that the quote is normally attributed to his autobiography. However, when you look in the autobiography, it's not there. So this quote is made up. And not only that, the words used in here, like, for example, medical freedom, being un-American, and medical science, and, you know, are not what you would see used in the 18th century. They were just words that would just not exist in the 18th century in the language. So again, this quote is entirely made up. So that's two quotes, one misattribution and one just outright flat made up by these, you know, by these people who want to try and cling on to some sort of desperate proof of legitimacy. And this is essentially what it is. It's a massive punt for legitimacy. And again, he provides no evidence that Gerson therapy works. He provides no links for that there's a link between, you know, pharmaceutical companies paying off people. There is no link for his thing. He says that the FDA is, you know, covering up cancer cures. You know, there's a quote here. He says, by John D. Rockefeller himself. Again, another quote that just doesn't exist. He wrote, "If a cure for cancer is ever found, this organisation must be immediately destroyed." Again, misappropriated quotes. So that's two misappropriations and one outright lie. Again, this is such a begging for, you know, legitimacy. It's unbelievable. And again, he provides no link. It's just, you've got to take his word for it. And again, it's not right. But again, when he's talking about the media and about, oh, they've been rebuffed by like media and stuff like that. Well, guess what? It is now more effective to get your word out via social media, YouTube, the internet, and much cheaper, by the way, than it is to try going these traditional routes. In fact, it's more effective to get the word out that way than it is these traditional routes. So why are you so bothered that you can't get into these traditional things? And again, the Gerson therapy just doesn't work. You don't provide any links here to say that the Gerson therapy works. All you say is right at the end is that you've got nearly 100 years of proven success from the treatment of advanced diseases, including terminal cancer. Where are these proofs and evidence that you're so happy to crow about? Because I'll tell you what, they don't exist. I know full well the Gerson therapy do not track tumour sizes at these clinics. So again, if it's so good, why haven't I heard about it? The reason is because the Gerson therapy has no evidence to support any of the claims it's making.